Well, hello there, Ingafay here, your direct sales diva. And today we're going to talk about two voices, the intuition voice or the ego voice. Which one do you listen to? I will see you inside. Today, I wanted to talk to you about following your sixth sense. Well, you may be wondering, well, Inga, what is the sixth sense? I mean, granted, I know the five senses. Most of us can see, most of us can hear, we can taste, smell, and touch. So, for the most part, those are five senses that we do. Well, in this episode of I Did That and You Can Too, episode 42, we are going to talk about how to use your sixth sense in your business. Before I even start on how to do this, let's just talk about this last 15 months that we have all been enduring. Last March 2020, we all were in a shutdown, and the things that we normally do in our normal had changed drastically. So we had to make a choice. Either we were going to try to do what we have always done, or we were going to quickly pivot and figure out how to work in this new normal that we're in. There are some people that did do the pivot, while there was others that kind of remained in what they knew. And I will tell you about my personal story. At the beginning of 2020, I stopped working as a mechanical engineer with hopes to pursue my direct sales business full time, not knowing that a pandemic was about to happen and that all of the things that I had done before to be successful was about to completely change with the quickness. And I had to pivot because at this point, this is what was feeding my family. I stopped working on February 1st. And as all of you know, the shutdown went down around February 15th. So I had about 6 weeks of bliss that I would have to quickly pivot and figure out how I was going to do this. So I remember a time that I wanted to have a presentation with some of my clients that I would normally do in an in-person type of setting. And I wanted this presentation to happen fairly quickly. Now, normally when I did this presentation, I could meet somebody today and schedule them for tomorrow. That's how quickly I could do it. But in this new realm that we were in, I couldn't necessarily meet somebody unless I met them online. So that was pivot number one. My normal interaction wasn't a face-to-face interaction. I am a member of several local chambers. Most of my business was in my local area, and that's how I ran my business because that's what I've done forever and a day. With this new normal, I couldn't meet anybody in my current area because of the pandemic and everything was shut down. So we didn't have that in-person interaction. So my first pivot was I had to do online marketing with the quick. I had to figure it out how I was going to get it done. In addition to working with the customers that I already had and asking for referrals that I've shared that with you before. And going back to my story, I wanted to have a party the next day. Unlike being in person, I had to figure out a way that I was going to do this virtually. So the first thing that I did was I started calling my customers, and I knew of some customers that were asking me about certain products that they hadn't tried yet. So my thing was, well, I can do infomercial type of presentation instead of what I normally do with in-person presentation where they could actually try before they buy, that kind of thing. So that's what I did. I put on a QVC show on my computer. I just made it happen. When I did that, I was able to sell a good amount of product. Now, how did I come to that conclusion? How did I get to that point? Or how did that idea come to me? It was my sixth sense. My sixth sense told me, Inga, you want to have this party fairly quickly. You don't have time to send samples. So why don't you just demo the products on yourself and invite your current customers and have them to invite friends? So that's what I did. When I did that, it was successful. But I know you're probably thinking, well, Inga, that's great that you have that voice, but I have this voice that tells me that Susie Q is not going to answer the phone and that when I'm calling her, she's probably busy with her kids and I'm interrupting her and I'm going to be nagging her. I want to tell you that there are two voices in your head. There's a voice called the ego voice, and then there's a voice called the intuition voice. And when it comes down to our dreams and our goals, both voices are talking to us. It's almost like, and I'm sure you've seen that cartoon where you have a little devil on one side and an angel on the other. And the little devil is the ego voice. The ego voice is very negative, full of fear. And most of the time when you hear that voice, they are scared to death of what's going to happen. Everything is fueled by fear. It's a scarcity type of mindset, very negative tone, very anxious. And as I said before, very fearful. So that's your ego voice. Then you have the intuition voice, which is very peaceful. It's not a place of fear. It's a place of love, and it's a quiet, meek voice, but it's full of zeal. So you'll know the difference. When I made this decision to do an infomercial type party, I realized that was my intuition talking to me, not my ego voice talking to me, because it was full of zeal and telling me, yeah, you need to do this. And the intuition is also a discerning spirit, that it's your guide. And for those of you that are Christians, it's God's choice. And for those of you that don't understand that, just know that it's just a guide for you and your next step. And when you listen to that very meek and polite voice that's full of zeal, you are definitely going in the right path. So that's one example of intuition. And then I also gave you the example of the ego voice that will tell you shouldn't call Susie Q because you're bothering her and she probably won't buy anything from you anyway, and you're nagging her and she doesn't want to be bothered. So I want you in your business to recognize those voices, because when you're building something that you have no control over and you're working towards a goal, you're always questioning yourself. Are you on the right track? What would your next step be? How long is it going to take? And when you have those kind of feelings, you want to keep pushing forward and do what you need to do in your gut. That intuition, that discerning spirit is telling you to do to be successful. Now, I'm sure that you may be thinking, well, Inga, do you have another example that you can give us? Like, for example, I had a past customer that I hadn't been my customer in over 2 years. And for whatever reason, she was just really strongly on my heart that I needed to call her. And I did. And come to find out, she was in the midst of trying to find one of the products that she had bought from me from another company. And the product that she was buying from me had been discontinued and she had not found a viable replacement. We didn't have a replacement in our product line, but I was able to call her and connect with her and was able to find something else in our product line that did meet her needs and that has definitely fallen in love with, that she knew nothing about because she only knew about this one product that she was using. But I went on ahead and listened to that voice that told me I needed to call her. Again, it was that discerning, meek voice that was full of zeal that told me that I needed to call her. And lo and behold, I was right on point. I called her just in the nick of time because she was looking for that particular product. So follow your sixth sense and know that you can trust it, because as you build that faith muscle and know that your sixth sense is going to guide you in the right direction, you're going to be dazed, glazed, and amazed by the different actions and choices that it tells you to do and the outcomes that come out of it as a result of it. Now, I hope that this was a blessing to you today, but hopefully you did get some great information. And I would love to know if you have any times in your business where you had that intuition voice or that sixth sense that told you to do a certain thing and the outcome that came out of that. So be sure to comment with that below. I hope you found value in what I shared with you today. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and share this with all of your direct sales girlfriends. I would love to connect with you. So go to my website, ingafay.com, and set up a discovery call, and even check out the resource tools I have that have really saved me a lot of time with automation. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now.